Joining us now, as he will every week on Tuesday. On Tuesdays at 4 o'clock.
Today's
Wednesday. Wednesday. I don't know. Well, the rhythm of the week's all screwed up because the football game was on Friday instead of being on Sunday. Anyway, Brian Baldinger, Odyssey Insider. Okay, stop it. Odyssey Insider. Insider Call is brought to you by Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. You can purchase Hellman's at your local Walmart, Kroger, or local grocery store. What up, Baldy?
Spike, Ike, hello. Good to be with you guys. Glad that this is going to be a weekly spot this year. Looking forward to it, guys.
Yes, sir.
What up, Baldy?
So, just big picture. You win aside, obviously, every win in the NFL, I've heard it a million times. They're all good wins. Every team's trying. Winning in this league is tough. After you watch the tape, after you see the game, would you say more positive takeaways from that game for the Eagles or more negative takeaways for the Eagles?
Oh, far more positives. Far more positives, Spike. I mean, first of all, that's a good team they played. They went far into the playoffs last year. They've got 7 first-round picks on defense with the new coordinator. They surrendered 34 points. The Eagles scored, put up 400 yards and 34 points. And, you got a brand-new right guard, a brand-new center replacing a Hall of Fame center. I mean, you look at all the changes. I thought it was far more positive in that performance, especially, I was there. I was down on the field. That was a cow pasture they played on. Everybody slipped. It was hard to get any kind of footing. It affected everybody at some point during the game. So I think all things considered, I think that was, and the first time anybody really played all year, I thought that was a pretty good performance.
So obviously, as we do here in Philadelphia, we talk about the quarterback. Jalen's performance, you look at the final numbers, good, but there was up and down there. Too many turnovers and turnover, quote, worthy plays. What did you see from Jalen Friday night?
Well, look, let's just look at the interceptions. The first interception, it's Devontae against the middle linebacker in a Tampa 2 look. It's the right read. Absolutely, it's the right read. I thought Devontae ran a lousy route. I would have put AJ in that spot, against the middle linebacker, just more physical. Bigger body in there, or a tight end in that spot. They're opening up to the number 3 receiver to that side, and that was Devontae. I thought it was a bad route, and Xavier McKinney was there for a reason. He covered a lot of ground. But you could say that the throw, okay, go someplace else to throw, it's fine. The second interception, the end zone, AJ, it's the right read. It's a scramble drill. He's going deep. He slips in the end zone, doesn't have his feet underneath him, and he can't recover in time to at least break the ball up. Otherwise, it's probably a touchdown. I don't believe that Jair Alexander is going to take that ball away from AJ. So, he made a lot of really good throws. The touchdown to Saquon was a dime. All the short throws that Kellen Moore put in, 3-step drops that they haven't had since Chip Kelly was here. He executed a bunch of those for first downs and to move sticks and possess the ball. I thought that worked out really well for him.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, Baldy. I love your breakdowns, brother, because I know you know this game. I'm a little surprised that you wouldn't be a little discouraged at Jalen's decision to make those throws. I can understand, making the read.
Why wouldn't you throw the ball to AJ? He's waving both hands at him.
Because he's rolling to his right and he's throwing the ball back across the middle of the field late.
All right. This is a different era now. These guys got arms. They got cannons. Mahomes does it every single Sunday. You could say, don't make the throw, but your star wide receivers is in the end zone waving both arms at you.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to ignore them, to be honest with you.
But when your feet aren't planted to where you can make a good throw, hold on just for a second, because you brought up 2 great quarterbacks with great arms that I think they get away with that at times. Even Josh Allen has too much confidence in his arms at times and throws interceptions. If you know you don't have that cannon for an arm and you're in scoring position, you're going down to put this team away, you really made a decision that cost you and really kept Green Bay in the game. I can understand seeing AJ there, and I can understand it's tempting to make that throw, but if you're not on balance, you can't make that throw late across the middle of the field. And as a matter of fact, Jair Alexander is watching it the entire way. That's why he's able to peel off his guy and fall back on AJ. And Jalen can either run there or either throw the ball away, and no one would have said a thing. And the play to Devontae, you can't throw that ball over the middle of the field late like that. He was basically triple covered on that play. The safety's over the top, and the corner's coming the other way.
It's Tampa 2 defense. It's a 3 deep. It's not triple coverage.
Well, the safety is over the top. Hold on.
The safeties are out to the numbers. Everybody makes that throw. Now, you can argue that the throw had enough air on it or deep enough. You can argue that, but you can't say he threw it into triple coverage. He didn't do that.
Well, I'm looking at the play, and there's 3 jerseys around him. It's the corner who picked it off.
At the end of the play, at the end of the play, but the safeties at the very start are widening to the numbers.
My point is this. My point is this, Baldy. There's 3 guys there. He throws it late. They are there.
They're not there. Xavier to me there's a reason why they paid him $50 million to come there. I mean, guy covers a lot of ground. Now, I think Devontae ran a lousy route. Like, you can't get bodied out of that position. You got to go fight for the ball. Like, you're trusting a receiver to go get it. I mean, I don't know. Like, I would rather have my quarterback be more aggressive, especially one to AJ, to go put your foot right on their throat in that spot and end the game right there. I'd rather take that. And if AJ doesn't slip in the end zone, you can't factor that in when you make that throw. But if he doesn't slip, it's not intercepted.
Okay, well, listen, I respectfully disagree with you. And the thing, when you're coming off a season where you had a career high and you led the league.
You can't think about last year.
Baldy, let me finish, Baldy, let me finish. I'll let you talk, and now let me just explain where I'm coming from on the situation here. When you've had problems turning the ball over and you're in your first game, and a lot of this is decision-making, forcing plays, and you come out and do that, those to me are plays that a quarterback of Jalen's caliber and smarts as a quarterback have to know it's more dangerous and it's not worth it to make those throws. He makes that throw out of the end zone. He gets that turnover. He gives Green Bay an opportunity to score right there. The other turnover, the last interception
You're not winning
came.
a Super Bowl playing like that, Ike.
But it's the first game of the season, and he has to be a quarterback. He has to be a quarterback to play smart and takes care of the football.
Play safe. Okay. Play safe.
I just want him to take care of the football.
All right. The guy's wide open in the end zone. Like, why wouldn't you throw it?
Because he wasn't planted. He wasn't set to make a good enough throw to get enough velocity on the throw. That's why you don't make the throw.
Did you see AJ slip?
Yes.
Okay, so if he doesn't slip, you think that ball's going to get intercepted?
It doesn't mean it's going to be a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm just saying, do you think that ball's going to get intercepted if AJ comes back to the ball?
Here's what I tell you could happen. AJ can come back. The ball gets tipped.
All right, go ahead,
Baldy.
Make your point.
Baldy. Let's be respectful. Let's be respectful to each other. You asked me a question. Would the ball get intercepted? If we were to say AJ is going to break a pass up, the ball gets tipped. Jair Alexander doesn't pick it off. The ball is tipped in the middle of the field. If it doesn't get picked off by Alexander, it could easily be picked off somewhere else, or it's an incomplete. Either way, at that point in the game, it's not worth the risk to do. It's just not worth the risk to do. And for a quarterback who on the previous play was late throwing the ball across the field that could have been taken back for a pick six that didn't happen because the DB dropped the ball, as well on the final drive of the game when he threw the ball late to AJ, and Alexander almost picked it off there as well, and AJ broke it up. You have to make better decisions with the ball. I don't mind him being aggressive, but it has to be at the right times. It has to be at the right times. And those were bad times to be aggressive.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I hear you. All right.
Well, I'm staying out of this one. You two are pros. I feel like an idiot.
No, you're good.
All right, good. Baldy. The other, we good for next topic? We all good?
Yeah.
All right, good. Other thing we're talking about is, the biggest, we talk a lot about Saquon, who was awesome, obviously, but the biggest free agent in terms of money that the Eagles signed was Bryce Huff. Didn't see much pressure from the edge from the Eagles defensively. How much of that do you attribute to the field, and how much of that do you attribute to the play of the guys on the field?
He hasn't played at all. I mean, he's got to get his feet underneath him. It was hard to get footing. It was hard to turn the corner. His nickname is the Bugatti. He's got a great takeoff. It was hard to get a great takeoff on that field. I'm not defending it, but he didn't have much of a factor in the game. I mean, you like to see more from him than what you saw from him.
And then, the first-round pick, Quinyon Mitchell, I think we're all super psyched with the way that he played, both fast and strong, which is a great combination at corner. What did you see from his first game with the Eagles?
I saw the same thing you saw in college. I mean, I don't care what level of college he was at. I saw a guy that has a mad break on the ball, that has good instincts, can play off the ball, man, like he did. Great technique on the go ball to Watson in the end zone. Perfect positioning on both balls in the end zone. He was in perfect position. So, I mean, he defends 2 balls on the outside against that quarterback and those receivers. And then you tackle the way that he tackled, which is very crisp, like he did in college. And I don't think he was expected to start. I know Isaiah was banged up, but, I mean, to step in for your first NFL start against that offense and those receivers, I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah, from the first play when they tried to go deep on him. When you look at that offense, again, Baldy, outside of Jalen, we know Saquon had a great day running the football. I want to kind of look at that offensive line and what they were able to do. And Mekhi Becton over there at that right guard spot. How did you think the O-line performed in the running game, the passing game, and probably more importantly, picking up the blitz in the first game?
Well, Mekhi and Cam were awesome. I mean, you can't find a bad play between them. They ran the ball in the fourth quarter better than they ran it all game long when they had to. Kenny Clark is a great player. They eliminated him. I thought they played really, really well together. I thought that they had an answer to most of the blitzes for the first time in a year, which was encouraging. They kind of know where to go with the ball. But Mekhi's never played guard in his life. He always wanted to be a left tackle. He was terrible at right tackle with the Jets last year. They gave him an opportunity to win that job. He won it, and he played very well. And for a guy who's 6'7", 370 pounds, once he starts learning some of the techniques inside and sees the way the game is a little different inside versus outside, I mean, the guy has – I don't think this is hyperbole. I feel like he's as powerful as Jason Peters in his prime. He has that kind of power in the run game. So they lifted guys up out of the hole and drove them backwards, and that's a good front. Slayton and Kenny Clark and Rashawn, they were pretty much invisible in that game.
We talk so much about Jeff Stoutland being a good offensive line coach, but it's like the guy doesn't miss. It doesn't matter who gets in there. I don't know if there is a more valuable position coach in the NFL than Jeff Stoutland.
Well, I mean, Bill Callahan, Tennessee, there's 3 or 4 of them, Spike, but they do make a difference.
Yeah.
It's probably the most important position coach on anybody's team, including most of the coordinators in this league. Because if you can't fix things up front, it doesn't matter what your game plan is and who's on the outside or who's running the ball. You've got to fix – it's one thing to develop players, to get Mekhi to believe in himself, that he can do this, that he can win this job, that all that. That's one part of it. It's another part to teach the techniques. It's a whole other part. Game day, when things aren't working or you can't get to the middle linebacker, and you got to figure out the way to get to the middle linebacker in the run game. You got to fix things game day, and Stout does that as well as anybody.
I can't believe I didn't ask you this. The last one, Baldy, you are obviously and we brought this up, we had you on a couple months ago, world traveler, Baldy, expert, traveler, vacationer. I have to know, how was your trip to Brazil? Did you do anything other than work? Did you get to see the sights, get to the beach, whatever?
Spike, come on, man. Like, first of all, you never go to Rio. You never go to Brazil, not go to Rio.
Well, that's what I'm just looking for the details.
I'm just telling you, Spike. Like, I know the game's in Sao Paulo, but you land in Rio. You have the chief of police in a bulletproof car pick you up, or at least the son of the chief of police. You get driven around. You're on the beach. You're in the waves. The beaches are the cleanest, the cleanest beaches in the entire world. There's not a piece of paper on any beach. The world class. And then the scenery on the beach is world-class. So that's how you start. You get to Sao Paulo, you stay on Paulista Avenue, which is basically their Fifth Avenue, and you live large. I mean, there's steakhouses open till midnight, and they never stop serving the meat, And then you just got to factor in 4 hours to go 10 miles in Sao Paulo's Friday afternoon traffic. Yeah, I didn't factor in very well, but that was a mistake. But everything else was perfect.
I'm telling you, the biggest contest we would ever have would be go on vacation with Baldy.
Travels with Baldy.
Yeah, my God, man. You're the best. All right, Baldy, we appreciate you, man.
All right, brother. We'll be back to peace next week.
No, it's all peace, Ike. It's all peace.
All right.
We all can defend our positions perfectly. It's fine.
Yep.
It's good, man. Look, you got your take, I got my take, and neither one is right and neither one is wrong, but you got to have your positions and stick to yours. Don't change. That's it, man.
Love it. That's what we do for a living.
Yes, sir.
All right, Baldy.
Look forward to next week, man.
All right, there he is, Odyssey NFL insider Brian Baldinger, host of the Best Football Show podcast. Insider Call is brought to you by Hellman's Real Mayonnaise, Mayo Game day be delicious?
Mayo.
That was great. I loved it from both of you. I loved you guys digging in. Two football guys. I'm just sitting here, 150 pounds.
When I heard he was in Tampa too. I was like, I love
I was like, I love hearing them argue about stuff. I don't know what they're talking about.
For those who want to know what Tampa 2 is, it's obviously two high safeties, and you get the middle linebacker to run down the middle of the field to carry the number 3 wide receiver. So you get to play a little bit of man coverage there, because the 2 coverage beater is putting the 3rd wide receiver down the middle of the field.
Well, and truthfully, I think the biggest thing with both of those things is he just threw it late.
That's the point that I was making. That's how the safety got back over there in time, and the other guy who picked the pass off was able to get there.
Honestly, you can avoid the entire arm strength conversation if he throws the ball earlier. So when you, not you, not Baldy, but when you watch it again, you can see it quite clearly on the first one. Now, I don't know if Devontae ran a good route or didn't run a good route, but you can see early in the play he's got a linebacker on him. And that's it. That's the only thing there.
You got to hit him right there.
Right there. But Jalen waited, and we've had this. Carson did that, and even Donovan did that to an extent, by the way, too. You wait till the guy's open and then throw it. It was too late, and that's why there were 3 guys there. Yep. So we can debate whether he was triple teamed or not.
When I say it was triple coverage, I just mean it was 3 guys there with the ball. There. I don't mean Devontae was actually covered by 3 guys. And if that's what he thought I was saying, then it was just confusion on miscommunication. And that's not what I was saying.
And the same thing, I know, like when you go back and watch the play where AJ slips in the end zone, yes, it's true.
I get it, yes.
Yeah, if AJ doesn't slip, he at least probably knocks the ball down. He's good at those things, whatever. But when you watch that play, AJ was definitely open. By the time Jalen threw the ball, AJ had been waving his hands for like 2 or 3 seconds. So if he doesn't run outside of the pocket, if he just steps up, he hits AJ earlier. Now, AJ might not be in the end zone at that point, but AJ can run after the catch, and he probably hits AJ at the 5-yard line or something rather than throwing into the end zone. And then we're not having the conversation about him trying to throw a ball that he's not capable of throwing, basically.
And quite frankly, it happens at times where you miss that window to get the ball to your guy. You missed it. You missed the window where AJ was open. You could have got it to him early. It didn't happen. And if you watch the play also, when Jalen is pointing to AJ, that really alerts Alexander. Like it
where you're going with the ball.
Of where you're going with the football.
Yeah.
And you got to realize everybody is watching you. It's zone coverage. So I just – my whole thing is that I was surprised Baldy wasn't more of a stickler for making that decision to throw the ball late.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. The idea that it was there and then it wasn't there. This idea of trying to say, well, AJ was open at first. Okay, he's not open anymore.
By the way, you could look at every play, every offensive play. There's probably somebody open for a second on every single play. And by the way, if they're going to keep doing this thing where they're just going to sit in zone, that's what – when we see Jalen, when we see the offensive line giving him 7, 8, 9 seconds, and he's looking around, it's because they're all just sitting in zone, and nobody's going to be wide open in that case. They're only going to be open for a second, like within the routes that they're running. They're not. So you could buy all the time you want, and they're not.
They're not open, and especially when they're in zone. If it was man coverage and everybody's running with their back turned to the quarterback, that's different. But once you don't throw that on time, you may as well just throw the ball away, because it's going to be harder, especially down in the red zone where you have the end zone as your extra defender. In other words, if you're on the 30-yard line on the other side, there's more field to work with. The guys can run a little bit more. The scramble drill can be a little more spread out. When you're in the red zone, there's nowhere for the scramble drill to go to. Especially when they're in zone. So I guarantee you Jalen knows he shouldn't have threw that ball.
Sure.
Guarantee he knows he shouldn't have threw that ball.
Both the balls. And the one that could have been a pick six to Dotson. All right. Coming up next. By the way, thank you to Baldy. Great spot. Look, I love
that type of year.
I love having guests here who we can go back and forth with. You know, we had Lombardi last week. He takes a shot right out of the gate. Sheil takes a shot right out of the gate.
Me and A.J. Brown.
You and A.J. Brown. We
don't want that.
2 horns, 2 alphas.
We don't want that.
2 alphas.
You and Bryce in spring training this year?
Oh, that's going to be a good one.
Nope.
I'm going to hold him accountable.
Yeah, I think we might have to.
Yeah, I don't know.
We might have to give you a
Jack's
laxative.
I was going to say Jack's going to poison my food the night before. We're going to the Palm Pavilion. I'm going to say, "Wait, this beer tastes like an X-Lax."
Yeah, like Dumb and Dumber.
Not
Yeah.
X-Lax.
Yeah. Visine. You can put Visine. Did you know that too?
I have as in wedding crackers.
Do not give people ideas over the air.
No, you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Sell drugs to children.
Don't sell drugs to children. All right, coming up next, the second rankings of this season, the Eagles Insider of the Year Power Rankings. Very exciting. We have some movement in the power rankings. And we also have a new report from one of the people ranked that it came in after the votes happened,
Yes.
but to consider for next week.
Trying to get in maybe for next week.
Yeah, so there's movement in the Eagles Insider of the Year Power Rankings. That is next on the WIP Afternoon Show with Ike, Spike, and Fritz.